All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining for the second week of Fireside Chats with Freddy. I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. So we've all got our lights, our candles lit. Um, Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Bobby, for joining me here on the second historic week of this show.
Thank
This
you.
it was crazy. I know this show is airing
Thank you
Tuesday
for
night.
having us, Freddie.
Yes, yes. Bobby, introduce yourself. How you doing?
Bobby Costa here. Pumped to be here. Network debut. Outro man, cameraman, former Minifan of the Year candidate. Stoked to be
Oh,
here.
we'll get into that. Ted, how we feeling? How we wheeling?
Yes, thank you for having me at this very heterosexual fireside chat. Hello, Fall is my candle this evening. It smells great. I am Ted Sellers, founder of Wheeling Bets, also formerly a Minifan of the Year contestant. Don't want to jump too far ahead, but apparently I'm too crippled to go up the stairs on my own to the studio. So no longer a Minifan of the Year, just a Minifan.
Well, we appreciate both of you joining. It's Thanksgiving week, so things are a little crazy. Things are a little hectic. I'll say it again. This episode of Fireside Chats with Freddy is brought to you by Moxie Soda, distinctively different, just like Kirk Minahan. It wasn't funny the first week. Maybe it'll be funny this week. I don't know. Who cares?
Are
We'll
you a
give it a roll.
Moxie? Are you a Moxie guy?
Uh, no, but it used to be an ad on KNC.
Oh, okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, when you have to explain it, it's not as you get. Okay.
I'm sorry. I love Moxie. That's why whenever I can
You
find
do.
someone
You do
else,
like
yeah,
it.
it's
That
delicious.
is the reason why, yes.
I love it.
Interesting. That says a lot. I think that says a lot about you. So, we'll get into it. A lot to discuss. We are not going to be tearing French fries this week on today's show. I know that is what gets the main show talking. Just kidding. PRC did a great job. We are PRC fans here. Good show. Keep it up. Love it. And if anybody can call themselves a fast food sommelier, good in my book.
I will
So,
say I am a big
yes.
PRC guy, but I don't want to air too much dirty laundry on a nice fireside chat. But he did lie about me on Kane's Corner, so that was an interesting play by him. I had never ever been reached out to him or Kane to go on either of their programs, and they spent a good amount of time. First off, it was pretty funny that Kane spent 3 straight ups giving it to his family for helping him take care of a disabled brother when he was battling ALS, and then immediately goes, "My first down is Ted Sellers." So I did kind of find it funny on that aspect. But yeah, both of them said that I view them as nobodies because I wouldn't go on their shows, and I never once went back through the DMs and everything like that. Never got an invite.
That's quite interesting. Bobby, do you have anything to say about that?
So right here, you're saying live, you're not too good for Kane's Corner. Is that?
Uh, no, I mean, I've never been invited. I'll put it that way. I've never been invited.
And while we're there, I have been told that Kane's Corner will not be going live during the premiere of this show. So I know he did it on the first week. He got a little sensitive because I was on the actual network and not the Menors network. I think he's over it. He had some angry tweets. I'm not here to bash Kane. He's gotten too much shine in the last week as it is. So I do want to get into a few different things. There's a lot of Minifan of the Year discussion. The Tim and Canton Award is really getting close to the finish line here. I've got two former finalists. Um, Bobby, I think you were the 2024 version of Shane Mudgett was to 2023. He was the unsung hero of the KMS world of 2023. I think in 24, I think that's you. That doesn't mean you're not Minifan of the Year, all that stuff. But I think it's a high honor, and I don't think you get enough credit for all the work you did behind the scenes. How did you feel when you were eliminated from the race for the Tim and Canton Minifan of the Year?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I was not surprised. I don't think I really did enough. It was cool to be mentioned. It was cool to be on the same list as Mikey Grabbags and George Washington Mutnansky. That's huge. But maybe if I did a couple more songs, I have so many that I scrapped. I would do like 30 seconds and I'm like, this sucks. So if I maybe did a couple more songs, whatever. But it was cool to be nominated. We'll pack up for next year, regroup, and try again. But I'm not gonna like do anything crazy. I'll just like, if there's a song opportunity, I'll do it. But other than that, I'm not gonna go out of my way or be something I'm not. I guess I don't know.
Well, you do have the parody song that's been played on the main feed more than anybody else. No one can take that away from you.
That's right.
Because
Thank
that
you.
closes out each episode. Ted, there was a lot of chatter about you weren't around for the first half of the year. I know you think that's bullshit. We don't need you to make your case. But how did you feel when you were eliminated from the running of the award? Ted, I think you're frozen.
Oh no.
Check. Go for it, Ted. Okay, we lost Ted. Not a big deal.
Yeah. The first half of the year, I don't know. He's made quite the impact, no?
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep going, and then if they edit this, they edit this, and if they don't, they don't.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think being in a wheelchair, I don't think that should count against him at all.
No. I think that the points against Ted were that, he did come he started coming into the show second half of the year. We don't need to relitigate it. It's been talked to death, so it's
Right.
not a big deal. I did want to say when it comes to parody songs, we touched on it briefly, but they brought up recently who had the best catalog of parody songs in the history. So I was curious where you fall on that. I don't know if you've gone back and listened to them all, but what are your initial thoughts when you see a poll like that or a discussion like that?
I've definitely listened to a lot of them, and I feel like Steve's a liar guy, legend. You really can't deny that. But whenever I go back and listen, and I'll just pick a random episode, I feel like Warden of the North is like always there with a very good one. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but like the the PC sleuth, I think that might be him.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Dave is a zero. Maybe he was like just a Cullinane era guy, but I always thought those were great too. So he definitely deserves to be in the conversation, but Steve's
He
a
had some
liar
great
guy.
ones even during Steve's tenure when he had I think we're getting Ted back here. Hey, Ted, you didn't miss much. We just started talking parody songs.
All right. Do you mind if I just do it on my phone? My laptop's not working too hot.
That's fine. Are you on your phone now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to put a bow on? And I don't know if this episode is getting any edits or not. Thank you to the graphics team and the editing team. They put together a wonderful intro last week. It just didn't get into the episode. So maybe this week it will, maybe it won't. Just kidding. John, we love you. No disrespect. Ted, did you want to put a bow on how you felt when you were eliminated from the Tim and Canton Minifan of the Year running?
I mean, first of all, it was very fair criticism by Kirk. I mean, I didn't really spot too many lies in there. The only one that I did have a little bit of an issue with is he did kind of not so much ask me how I felt about my chances, but it was more of Justin's criticism that was mentioned on the show. And my only point was I would put my half year up against a lot of people on the list. I wasn't so much advocating that I did that much more than everybody else, but I would say my half year had at least put me in the running based on content and everything like that. But he's right. I had disappeared for a little while, and I did have something that came up in the universe that led me to message Kirk on Twitter and be like, hey, I actually went to school for broadcast. And so if you're looking for somebody that can fill in for Josh and James, not trying to like take anybody out or anything like that, strictly one night that I'd be more than happy to do the game for you. because the best part of it is like you're watching this rec league basketball game. Team KMS is like, most nights getting blown out, but like you have a professional broadcast with it. It's actually pretty funny, the dynamic with that. So if they wanted to kind of keep that, I would be able to, fill in for them on the one night.
And for those that don't remember, you did a game, correct?
Yes,
And
I did.
who was your broadcast partner that evening?
They put me with Cliff.
Cliff.
Yeah, so
Electric.
me and Cliff went in studio that morning and then called the
Have a
game
nice
that
life.
night. Yes, have a nice life. But that's the day Coleman left me at the bar and everything like that. So
Oh,
it ended up being like a really funny day and also provided some pretty good content for the show. So I'm glad I did reach out. But no, I wasn't, trying to like find an opportunity. It just kind of came up and I was like, oh, I can do this. And then luckily Kirk announced on the show. He never even replied to me. So I was like, never mind. And then like the next show, they were throwing out ideas and Kirk was like, no, I have a guy. And then he said I could do it. So I was like, oh, sweet.
And not to rehash it again, but you held on to that Coleman leaving you at the bar story. You held on to that for weeks, maybe months before
Yeah,
it came back out.
So it was kind of an interesting like thing, like how it happened. And when you're like first time really like hanging out with like the show, I went in studio and I don't want to make it seem like I'm somebody that like needs to be taken care of or anything along those lines. I'm pretty self-sufficient. But we had to hang out at the studio like all day because they weren't going to like drive me back to Brockton just go back up to Belmont later in the day. So I kind of knew I was like there for the day. And after they ended up like uploading the podcast and editing some clips, Justin was like, all right, I'm going to go to Belmont High. And Coleman was like, hey, let's go to lunch and then we'll go over there after. So I'm thinking we're going to get lunch, go over there. And then at lunch, me and Coleman shooting the shit, really great dude. And he does the whole thing. You guys know the story, but he literally led me to believe that he's right around the corner. So hour and a half later, the rest is history. But I held on to it because I didn't want to make it seem like I like was like pissed or anything like that. I wanted to be a good sport. And then when we were talking about Coleman and how like this kind of fit his profile as a person, that's when I decided to share it on the show.
Yeah, maybe too good of a sport, people are saying. You could have really, exposed him as an asshole way earlier, but
I
credit
mean,
to you.
if I was
drinking,
drinking, I probably wouldn't have cared. But obviously, like we weren't going to do that. Like you're not going to make show content and like drink and everything like that. So
who would ever?
Yeah, right. So we know how that would end with Kirk. So definitely not going to do that. But we had, there's only so many iced teas you can have in, an hour and a half at a bar.
So before you cut out, we were getting into the parody song debate, and in terms of, it was recent discussion who was the greatest parody song performer in the history of KMS, and the vote came out very clear that it was Steve's a Liar Guy with Carano as number 2, Warden as number 3, and Bobby was just saying that Warden had some bangers, and I was trying to tell Bobby that even in the Steve era, Warden had some bangers. It was that song "Nobody's Watching Me" when he did the Dale thing about the ghost stories, and he dropped all the Bruins innuendos in there. So he had some bangers. Ted, initial thoughts on that whole debate, where you stand? Do you have any hot takes, or do you sort of fall in line with Steve's a Liar Guy as number 1?
Yeah, I don't really have too many like hot takes on it, but I do think it's a 2-person race, 1A, 1B. So if that's a hot take, then consider me in that one. But I think 1A Steve's a Liar Guy and 1B is Carano. The 2 Carano songs, I mean, the shock value of the Steve's a Liar Guy songs before like it became a well-known thing where they were just so good and funny, like right off the bat will always like make him kind of my 1A. And he just churned out so many classics like right off the bat. But 1B is Carano because Mama Geary's Touch is just such a funny song with so many clever lines. And then like I wish there was just like a supercut of every single one with reactions, because the first time they hear that song, Bobby, if you haven't listened to the episode where they listen to it for the first time, it's so good because they have to keep stopping it. And like when he gets to the second verse where they talk about Mike's mom being in the Vegas shooting, you literally don't know what he's referencing for the first two lines, and then they
The
pause it.
lead penetrated the night.
And at that part is when they pause it, and Mike goes, "Wait a minute, wait a minute," and then like they just both start like dying laughing about it, and yeah, the breakdown of that whole song's great. And then obviously when they were having the full on feud with the Red Sox, and he wrote
Rape.
the rape song, and
Yes.
I
So
don't
good.
think I've ever heard
Everybody
Kirk.
tweeted, "I love rape. Rape is
Yes.
great."
And I don't think I've ever heard Kirk laugh as much at a line as he did the very last line of the song when he actually says, "My name's Sam," the Sam Kennedy's line, and he just belly laughed so hard at that he can't believe like that's how it ended. So that Carano will be very close to 1, but I have him 1B.
Yeah. So Bobby, any thoughts on what Ted just said?
I mean, Carano's also, I think, like a really good singer. So that might hurt him or help him. Like
Well,
Steve's a liar guy.
His background is a music professional. He like teaches like music writing and reading and all that shit.
Well, I think he's more of a Brazilian restaurant owner and then a musician.
Burritos.
But yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
But yeah, Steve's a liar guy is like Tom Waits or something, like just such a unique voice. And without him, though, he definitely is number one, because without him, you wouldn't have Mikey Grab Bags or myself even. He paved the way for all of us.
Yeah, and I did want to note, like, for someone like yourself that you weren't watching from the beginning, back in 2019 and 2020, when these things happened, they would have a 3-hour show on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And within that show, there would be 3 or 4 or 5 like crazy storylines. That show would get posted at 11 a.m. You would get 3 or 4 hours to listen to it. These guys would have a song written, sung, recorded, and sent into the producers before the next day, and the song would be playing on the show the next day. Like this is not just like a month later or anything like that. These guys were impressive. The turnaround, the creativity, the specificity to which they nailed every single line of every single song. Like they don't get enough credit.
It was an arms race.
Yeah, it was wild. Because some of them were so good in the beginning. If you had like a B- song, you might not even get it played. You might not even get it, get 10 seconds of it before Kirk said it sucked. But I did want to say, around sort of wrapping this whole discussion, the producers should make a complete compilation of every song, every parody song. And I'm not just trying to give them busy work. If there's a fan that loves the show and they don't have anything to do, they might do that. But people have lives. The producers, their job is the show. So I'm not saying this is going to change the history of the world, but if they put a database together that had every song, the title, the singer, the date it came out, and then 2 sentences on the context of the song, then you could see, oh, Steve's a Liar Guy submitted 66 songs, 19 of them were awesome, 9 of them sucked, and 20 were mediocre. So then you could actually have a debate, who is the best? Oh, Warden only did 9 songs, but they were all fucking grand slams. So like that could maybe add to the debate. Do I think that will ever happen? No, I don't.
I would take that over a best of, to be honest.
So on that same note, last year Gus tried to do the top 20 parody songs, and he compiled, I think, 100 of them. So there is a Gus archive out there with all these songs listed. So I think a little bit of the legwork is already done for them. So that's my suggestion of the week to the producers. It's never going to happen, but why not?
Yeah, I think that
people like Bobby, who are Gen Facts, that didn't catch everything in real time, could go back and be like, oh shit, this is funny and this is why it's funny. Like I get it now.
Right. When Gus was doing that, I was going back and listening to some of them and like kind of understanding more jokes that I never realized.
It's hard though, especially if like you didn't listen the first time, because they didn't timestamp everything like they do now.
especially on like the early episodes.
Hmm.
So I'm going based on like memory of subjects that may have been brought up around that time versus context of song, and it's still kind of hard for me sometimes to find exactly like when something happened. And there's even like secondary songs by people that like are really funny, like the Cullinane song by Steve's a Liar guy. Meth and Pot was pretty funny by Carano. Like they all have like other songs that aren't mentioned with like the big ones, but are like also hilarious.
And some songs are just unfindable, like the original version of Podcast Jesus by Murchison's Mouse. He did it on a Twitter like live stream or some Twitter video or whatever. You literally can't find it. It doesn't exist. So that, if that was your full-time job, you could figure it out. But there's only a couple people in this world that is their full-time job. Or facts, if you become an intern,
Right.
maybe there's a fucking project for you.
Quidditch
There
guy.
Let's see. Should I hit one more nugget or should we jump into some quick trivia?
Dealer's choice.
Let's hear some trivia.
Let's do trivia. All right. All right. Same as last week. 3 quick questions. It's 2 out of 3. Nothing on the line other than bragging rights. There's no categories. There's just 3 questions. First question. If you think you got it, just yell it out. When they did the challenge in Justin's car, who was the first person eliminated?
Tim and Canton.
Yes, ding. Ding for Ted. Yes. Bobby, does that resonate with you? Do you know what that even means?
I don't. I've heard about it. I know Tim Ridgels was there. And the Vamos thing. I kind of know, but what is that from? Was it just because
So there was a challenge. There was a challenge. I think the winner got to. I don't remember what the winner got, but it was something. It was tickets or got to go into the studio for an appearance. I forget. But Tim Ridgels was there. McFuss Daddy was there, and Tim and Canton. And then, that may have been the first red flag for Tim that he had some health issues that he cleaned up over the years. So at the time, it was iconic.
That's awesome. Was
So-
McFuss Daddy like around here, or did he? He didn't
No, he
come
came up from
Yeah,
Georgia.
he literally came
No
up.
way.
And I
Justin's
think that
car.
was what sort of put himself on the map. That was before he was a known entity in the world.
That's hilarious.
So it was a fun time. Second question. What deadly pizza place happened to have a location within blocks of the Plymouth live show venue?
Mamma
Mamma
Mia.
Mia.
Yes, you
All
both
right.
got it, but I'm going to give it to Bobby. Bobby was a little quicker on the draw.
I don't know. I really don't even know the backstory. I've just heard it mentioned so many times.
It kills people, Bobby.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Poison. It's your last meal.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It
We
was
don't have time to
hilarious
get into it now.
that Portnoy went over the summer, and
Ooh.
everybody freaked out, and obviously had no idea like what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Shout
funny.
out Warhog.
There was from the, behind the theater at Plymouth, there was Mamma Mia's Pizza, and then next door it was like Ziggy's
Ice
It
cream.
was like an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It's very
crazy.
funny, very random. All right, third question. This is the tiebreaker. Ready? Closest guess wins. What was the month and year of Sacco 1?
That was July of 2020.
Bobby, do you have a guess?
Yeah, I'll say September 2020.
Well, your guess doesn't matter because it was July of 2020. Ted, congratulations, Ted. You won this episode's version of trivia.
I mean, you don't like forget dressing up in a dress and doing the Sound of Music with Blind Mike, you know? A little unfair that was one of the trivia questions.
Hey, I
I'll
gotta
take
know
it.
my history.
Life's not fair. We move on. Okay. Which one should we do? Okay. So today's episode, so this is airing Tuesday night. Today's episode had Steve from Gloucester as well as Bio Dude. I thought Steve from Gloucester was exactly like we thought he was going to be. He was a little boring. He didn't really bring it. He's been a little boring on Twitter. He just, he doesn't have what he used to have. He feels like a bored again guy. Bio Dude was as weird as we thought he was going to be, and like we thought that awkward thing was going to happen, and it kind of did.
I
I'm just
think you
kidding.
nailed
We're
it.
recording on Monday night. We didn't see the episode yet. But I do have a question. Steve from Gloucester got into this world based on a note he wrote into the studio. Kane last week wrote a note to Pat Ford's wife. Which note was weirder? Was it Steve from Gloucester lying through his ass to get into the studio, criticizing Gussie bullshit, or was it Kane sending it to someone's wife?
Bob, you want to take this one first?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I definitely Steve's is definitely crazier.
Right.
I mean, it's a manifesto. It was nuts. That was right when I really started listening, and I was like, oh my God, what is these people? But I did looking at Kane's note. I mean, it is a bit, so it's less crazy, but his handwriting and the grammar. One of my biggest pet peeves is the must of or should have instead of must have. Really upsets me. And the handwriting, I mean, what the fuck? I thought maybe his brother wrote it for a second, but it was just brutal, but a funny bit. And I am a Caniac. Yes.
They're both a type of crazy that you can't teach, and that's what makes this world so hilarious. And everybody's a character, but the Steve one is definitely like the more crazy, just because it was like an unprovoked, like he just sat down and he wrote it out, and it goes very well with the fact that he does it for all his YouTube shows too. There are also like a long note to himself that he
reads like 3 or 4
it's just like
times.
subconscious, like he's the Wonder Years, and it's just narrating like what he's doing, but it's like him, and he's like the seagulls and like
The
all that.
social media
Yeah. And so it's like just crazy that exists like in a person. The Kane one is definitely like kind of a bit, but then you like see the handwriting and everything like that, and you're just like, this guy is on another level of crazy. But I can't give him the crown because Pat Ford was kind of crazier in that whole situation too. So it was just like the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. So I would say Steve from Gloucester has that one won, just for the fact that it's strictly like how he is.
Yeah, I thought the Pat Ford drama was very interesting. At this point, it's the next week. I think the drama is frozen at this point.
You guys seem to be like relatively like level-headed, like Minifans overall. So do you find that everybody's getting lost in the bit constantly? Like nobody knows like where the bit ends and like where like real drama like sneaks in, and then as soon as one person kind of like leans towards like this is getting to be real drama, the other person's like, you pussy. Like then they're like, look at Pat having feelings and like
Right.
And then he's like, I was just kidding about the feelings, guys.
I never felt that.
Right. And then like I just feel like we don't know where the bit ends a lot of times with everybody, and
we are in a big cult. We just don't realize it yet.
Right.
So real life is the funny part. So, but no. I do think the Pat stuff was funny. I think that is frozen in time. I do think at this point he's let it go. But that's funny. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this story or not. What's that noise?
Is that me? I don't think so.
Okay, so someone sent me this story last week. Jersey Jerry was on the Yak, and he talked for 5 minutes about how Marcus Luttrell's whole military story was a bunch of bullshit, and he was doing it on a Barstool show right in front of Kate, and basically saying stolen valor. And my question is, I don't expect you guys to have seen this because it was a niche thing for 5 minutes on the Yak, and someone sent it to me. But like, where's Chaps now? Like, my question is, In the KMS world, does Kirk care about? And I actually sent this story to Justin. Unfortunately, it was the day he was out sick. I think he was going to bring it up on the show, but he was out sick. He probably didn't get to send it to Dave, or Dave saw some TikTok that he thought was better. Whatever. But if this got brought up to Kirk today, do you think he would even care? Or do you think it would be a big sticking point? Because this almost cost him his job 5 years ago when he brought up the Benjamin Albright stuff. So now Jersey Jerry, oh, it's Jersey Jerry. He's goofy and funny. So does that not fucking matter because it's goofy, funny Jersey Jerry? He's literally doing the Stolen Valor thing. Which one is it? What do you guys think?
I'm just trying to read up on it like real quick.
Bobby, go ahead.
I was watching the Yak. I always watch it, and I will say, in Jerry's defense, he was very like apprehensive. He was like, "I don't know if I should really be saying this." And then Kate was there, who's a Marine, and she was almost kind of agreeing with him, like sort of like, "Yeah, there's a lot of people have been saying that about this guy." So,
Which is funny because they said the same thing about Ben Albright 5 years ago.
yeah.
But when it comes to Chaps, you're not allowed to fucking question it because that's Chaps' lane.
So I think it comes back to the last guy we just talked about. Where's the consistency?
I would say that Kirk probably wouldn't care as much about like a stolen valor situation for Marcus Luttrell because Ben Albright was like a cunty Twitter guy,
Right.
and like kind of like holier than thou, like reporter, like, and like that always annoys Kirk. You know, I don't want to like speak for him, but I think that's why he went as far at him as he did because he just hated him as a person, and he's just the type of person that he doesn't like. I don't think Marcus Luttrell is really like on his radar as somebody that he cares about like the truth to the story and the background and everything like that. He'd probably just do the Jerry voice and be like, he's a good American. So I don't
So
know.
my take is more about Chaps. Does Chaps see that and just brush it off as Jersey Jerry being funny? Or does Chaps not care about people calling other people out for stolen valor anymore?
Well, I'm sure he knows the last time that he cared, it didn't work out long term for him too well. And two, he works side by side with Jersey Jerry pretty much every day. So I don't think he's really that much of a confrontational guy in the office. I think he was once like a Twitter fingers like kind of tough guy. But I think now he just wants to like do golfing videos and like do his Kate podcast and weirdly tweet like I'm in Walmart, come fight me, or something like that that he does on Twitter. So
Yeah, like name how many pineapples are in the state of Florida.
yeah, exactly. Like the whole like can 7 tiny horses beat up like 7 giant penguins or whatever the fuck that shit is.
Now that's
So
an
if
interesting one.
if nothing else, I just want to point out the inconsistency of Chaps and how he almost
Yeah,
cost Kirk his job.
I mean, I don't think it's surprising to anybody that it wasn't really just about like what he thought, what he was saying it was about. He didn't like Kirk, and he was just trying to be a dick, and didn't end up working out the way he wanted it to at the time.
Agreed. All right, we're getting to the finish here. A couple more nuggets. One house cleaning item. I did bring it up last time. We are getting close to the 1000th episode, but last week Dave Cullinane said that we have had 980 episodes. That is wrong.
Ooh,
I have a good source that has clued me into some information, and
Ziggy.
maybe no,
Oh,
no. We don't burn our sources,
yeah,
John the
but
Ziggy.
not Ziggy. But also some legwork has been done by some of the production team on this show, and it seems that we are sort of closer to 966 as of today. So that puts episode number 1000 into. It depends how the schedule goes, early or mid-February.
Are we talking just things that are put on the feed? So if Kirk interviews somebody, is that a Kirk Minahan show episode? It's on the KMS feed.
I think so. Yes.
Okay. So I just
Yeah.
want to know like exactly what we're counting.
And again, another job for the producers, another job for an intern, not a job for just a fan with a full-time job that wants to fuck off for a couple hours. They should have that answer, but Dave is fuzzy with details. But I think the 1000th episode is a big deal, so I think they should probably figure it out a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. So anyway, that's just a side note. Next quick thing, Ted. Are you or are you not related to Glenny Balls?
I am not, but people keep giving me that one.
Oh.
John and Warren, just with the attacks today on the show,
Oh.
called me half a year Ted. Of all the things that I've been referred to, especially with half being involved, that was probably like the least offensive of all of them, which actually was kind of more offensive to me. I was like, really? Like, that's what we're throwing shade at? But no, I get Patton Oswalt all the time. So I'm sorry if he thinks that he's the first one, but like I get that one, the Shriners kid. I get a lot. The one that hands out the adorable blankets. If you donate every
Did anyone
month.
call you the Boom Kid yet?
No, nobody's called me the Boom Kid
Right.
yet, but
I won't be the first one.
all right,
Big,
good. I'm glad
Big
you didn't speak
Justice, say
that
his name.
into the universe.
No, I've blocked one thing on Twitter in the history of Twitter, and it's that weird family.
The Costco verse.
Get it out of my face. Fuck that.
One of the funniest ones was the first show I went on. Somebody put in the comments that I was built like Geodude, and I thought that was actually hilarious.
That's great. Ugh.
Speaking of Geodude, this will
I don't
air,
think that's ever been said ever. Speaking of
Where's this at?
Geodude.
this will air after tomorrow's show, so these takes are fleeting. But what are your predictions or thoughts or excitement level for Steve from Gloucester and Biodude going to be in studio?
And
I mean-
Mutt, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, Mutt shouldn't be there. I don't know why.
No,
he's there.
that's I love
Well,
that.
I think it's extra funny. And I love Mutt. So I mean this in like the most endearing way possible. But Mutt is going to look at Steve from Gloucester and Biodude and go, these are two employed, successful people that I'm sharing the studio with right now. And one of them is tripping on mushrooms.
Ugh.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Steve from Gloucester is going to do like the trying to make peace thing. Happy to be back, kiss the ring, that whole routine that he's been doing on Twitter. I think Mike said on the show today that he's acting like a born again Christian, and that's pretty spot on. Biodude, I don't know what to expect. If he's half as crazy as that Alice Shattuck tweet that he had the other day, I think we're in for a treat. But sometimes these guys go in studio and they just don't talk, so it'll be interesting. But I actually like Mutt in there. Mutt's a good laugher in the studio, especially when Kirk gets going and like ragging on other people that aren't him. He's very good at like wanting to join in and laugh. So I think it'll be a good show tomorrow. It'll be different, you know. It'll definitely be a different vibe.
First show before Thanksgiving, or last show before Thanksgiving. I think it has the potential to be the best show of the year. Just with the three of them coming in, potential. And I'm very.
So, are you saying that Biodude might be the missing puzzle piece in this universe?
It very well could be. I haven't really interacted with him, but everyone says he's the nicest guy ever. So I hope, Kirk doesn't like steamroll him or anything. Like if he's just a nice guy that wants to be there, then I could see.
You do know what show you listen to, right?
That's right. Yeah, true. That's a good point. But I could see what you just said. Somehow, with all these characters in, Mutt still gets the worst of it, just because of his situation. But I'm very
tried
interested.
to fix it. I had a job offer for him.
You're not the only one.
That.
But I want to see the choreography of it. Like Dave was saying, Biodude's going to be in his chair. I'm very curious to see how that goes.
No, he was kidding. That's what Menners wanted.
So where the hell are they going to be?
I'm sure Mutt will be
three
in
chairs.
with Dave.
They'll do 3 seats, I think.
Oh,
okay.
3 seats. All right. I didn't know.
I'm guessing.
Mutt's been in
hilarious.
the producer's booth before, so my thought was Mutt sits with Dave, and then you have Biodude and Steve from Gloucester in the chairs. But we'll see.
They should have Mutt in the Quidditch guy's seat, just
in the corner.
Chat. Yeah. I will say for Biodude, I am excited to see him in there. I think the height. So Kirk said it today. This is going to satisfy the 300 people on Twitter. Blah blah blah. Like that means Kirk doesn't know what to expect because he's seeing that might be too much hype for him on Twitter. I don't know, but Bio Dude needs some respect. He is the only motherfucker crazy enough to let 75 Minifans go to his house to have a cornhole tournament last year before Plymouth, 2023, before the Plymouth show, and he opened his arms to all of us, which was fucking wild. Which he needs some credit for that. He's the nicest guy in the world. He is weird. He is a mushroom guy, so we'll see what happens. But I am excited to see what he brings to the table. I do think he's very well self-aware of himself. So I'm excited to see how he does, and I have faith that he will be interesting. And that's all we need.
I did not know that about the cornhole. Is that what gave us Beanbag Ron as well?
That's correct. Beanbag Ron did win that cornhole tournament. He was a champion. Him and his brother. They did win. They did beat me and Steve Robinson in the finals.
Oh,
Beanbag Ron may have had his foot over the line on every throw, but I'm not here to litigate that. We're not here to relitigate that.
No.
We won't do it.
The people are saying it, but you're not.
It's been said. It's been said. Just a couple more. So Surviving Barstool is going to launch next week. We'll get everybody out of here soon enough. Surviving Barstool, any thoughts? It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, unless some goal is hit, and then they'll put the first episode out on a Monday. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys excited? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm always in for Kirk and like the world of Barstool, as like different type of Kirk content. So I'm definitely excited for it. Obviously, with all the nuggets that have been dropped on the show, as far as the potential feuds, people he doesn't talk to anymore. Everybody wants to know about the Big Cat stuff, and see how that develops. Obviously, he still seems pretty cool with Clemmer and certain people that have appeared on the show. But to see how everything transpires will be good. Very interesting to me that the publicity behind it has been almost non-existent as far as like people tweeting about it. I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if they don't want to interfere with like the big Black Friday, rush that they're about to have, and they're waiting to, do stuff based around that. But from a marketing standpoint, it just seems very interesting that it's going to air that soon, and not much on like the Twitter feed or Instagram or anything advertising it.
And I told Jeff D'Lo a week ago, I said, Jeff, you're 14 days away from this show dropping. Now today we're 7 days away. I haven't seen a trailer. I follow things on Twitter. I haven't seen one trailer for it. If they wait until the last 3 days, that's a fail. Like, the show's going to do well no matter what, because it's going to be great. But build some hype. Release a trailer. Release 2 trailers. You got the fucking Barstool team on your side, the best editors in the world, the best content people in the world. 24? How many people were there? Give us a fucking teaser. Am I wrong, Bobby?
No, just a little
you're,
teaser.
You're totally right. You're right.
And
And
we're
I feel
7
like
days away. Nothing.
have they said, is it going to be pay-per-view again? Is it going to be on YouTube?
I wish I knew.
It
I pay
does
attention
just
to everything, and I don't think they said it.
It feels like a total mystery. I mean, it may be partly because like whenever they talk about it on Unnamed, Dave just immediately like panics, doesn't want to spoil anything, but you could edit
there's no
a trailer.
Unnamed this week. There's no more Unnamed before the show drops.
Wow. That's criminal. It is
And there's no Cyber Monday telethon. There's no Black Friday telethon. Like, where's the hype? Give me the hype machine. What are we doing?
But you are right. It'll do well either way. Like, I have people I talk to that aren't even Barstool fans that are excited to see it. They watched last year just as if it was like a regular Survivor show. So, I mean, it is strange though. Where the fuck's the trailer? Let's go. We don't even know what it's gonna like look like the set or anything.
Yeah, everything's been very hushed.
But I'm excited. That being said.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. I appreciate you guys coming on here. This another historic week on Fireside Chats with Freddy. I do want to see if you guys have any closing thoughts, final information. What do you guys think? Ted, the floor is yours. Say nothing or say everything.
No, I just wanted to thank you, Bobby and Freddie, for letting me join you guys for a nice fireside chat tonight. Happy Thanksgiving, Miniverse. Can't wait for Bio Dude and Steve from Gloucester and Mutt tomorrow. Gonna sign off now.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Ted. Bobby?
I echo that. Thank you for having me. My network debut, I think. I sang the national anthem once for something, but great to be here. I'm gonna say it right now.
Did Justin cry?
he better have. But tomorrow's show, today's show, that you're what best show of the year. I'm calling it right now. I don't
Excellent.
know. Fuck it. I hope it is. I'm
Excellent.
very excited for it. So
Well,
thanks for having me.
Yep, I'll say this. Another great episode. To the people watching, I appreciate it. This show is not to get anything on the main show. This show is for the fans. I've had countless numbers of fans reach out to me saying, "Thank you, keep doing the show. We love this. This is everything we needed."
You
So
can't count them.
it's for the fans. And if you are watching this right now, this is the last thing you're going to watch in the KMS universe before your Thanksgiving break. So have a great break. Actually, I'm sorry. After this show airs, Kane's going live on Kane's Corner. I know that because he tried to book me on it. So Kane's Corner live at 9. See you
Andy's
then.
going on with Drew the Troll, apparently.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. It seems like he might have some checkers in his past.
Yeah.
But I misspoke. Kane's Corner is on at 10. I'll be on there. See you then. Other than that, happy Turkey Day.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.